Okay, so a few days ago, we recently saw Shakur Stevenson and Conor Benn on the Ariel Helwani show. Now, by the time this video drops, it will be, probably quite a bit after this clip happened. But I wanted to talk about what would potentially happen if those two were to fight. They were talking, a bit spicy. There was some fighting words being put there, and I guess the fight probably won't get made. But if it does, it'd be a curious sort of thought exercise to talk about what could potentially go down in that fight. Of course, you've got Shakur Stevenson, who fights at 135 at the moment at lightweight, and Conor Benn, who for this fight would go back down to welterweight at 147. Of course, that's a huge size difference there, particularly in the style of fighter they are as well, where Shakur Stevenson doesn't use his physicality. He doesn't get by on that. He gets by on his speed, on his defensive awareness, and his boxing IQ against a guy like Conor Benn, who's ferocious, aggressive, throws a lot of punches, and throws them hard too. Hard and fast, bro. And who's not small for 147 when you compare him to the other guys at 147 in terms of punching power and physicality. He's not small for 147. And a guy who put hands on Chris Eubank Jr. at 160. Now, people will say Chris Eubank Jr. is a 168, he's a super middleweight. He's not. He's just small for 168. He's a middleweight, Chris Eubank Jr. I guess for the sake of argument, you could be like, well, Chris Eubank Jr. fought at 168, so he's a super middleweight. He's not. Chris Eubank Jr. is a middleweight, right? Nonetheless, Conor Benn still put hands on him and at times had him going, you know what I mean, and was landing clean on him and all these things, right? I don't fancy Shakur to take those shots against a Conor Benn at welterweight who will be, even faster and no doubt would be absolutely raring to go. He looks like he's a guy who's always itching for a fight, Conor Benn. Always looks like he's itching for a fight. So, I mean, for that fight, it could potentially be a very short night for Shakur Stevenson if that fight was to happen. I'd like to think Shakur Stevenson's a bit smarter than to take that fight. That being said, Shakur Stevenson is a good enough boxer to outbox Conor Benn. Could he do it for 12 rounds, though? I don't think so. Because Conor Benn's going to find that chin. He's going to pin you down eventually. And, if Zepader's able to put you against the ropes at times. Now, that being said, Zepeda put him against the ropes, threw a lot of punches. Nothing really got through apart from a handful of punches. But taking a handful of punches from Zepeda and taking a handful of punches from Conor Benn, two very different propositions. I'd rather take those punches from Zepeda than Conor Benn. Conor Benn's a lot bigger and a lot harder of a puncher and he throws with bad intentions, right? So if that fight was to get made, immediately my reaction is, well, Conor Benn wins that fight. He probably stops him. Especially if it's a 12-round fight, and it would be a 12-round fight. It wouldn't be a bullshit 6-rounder. Neither of these guys are signed up for a 6-round fight. It would be a 12-round fight. And your only bet for Shakur to win is, can Conor Benn not find Shakur Stevenson's chin for 12 rounds? Now, Shakur Stevenson's a very good defensive boxer, but it's hard for anyone to not take a shot for 12 rounds. Like, that's damn near impossible. The only person we would really see do that was like Floyd, and Floyd is bigger than, a Shakur. Physically, he's bigger than a Shakur Stevenson and could fight at 147. Shakur can't fight at 147, right? But yeah, I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Do you think this fight could get made? Do you think Shakur would win it? Or do you think Conor Benn would sort of run through him? Now, it's the sort of thinking that, I guess if you think that Canelo will beat Crawford, then you'll think Benn will beat Shakur. It's that sort of argument in my opinion. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Do you think Shakur could pull off a victory against Conor Benn at 147? Or do you think Conor Benn's just got too much power and too much, aggressiveness and pressure, and throws with bad intentions, throws those combos, commits to his shots, digs his feet in, and really, of course, Conor Benn's not. I don't know. Is he a world level? He's not beat anyone world level, so I can't sit here and be like, well, Conor Benn's a world level operator. He's not. He's not beat anyone world level. He had a great performance against Chris Eubank Jr. at 160, but it's boxing, man. The game is the game. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what you guys think of this fight, if it gets made, and who you think wins that. But yeah, another episode of the Seth Soda Cyclist in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.